To be honest with you, it's a bit hard, today to come and have a conversation and catch bare joke, when there's so much. Do you know someone else died today?
Yeah, 20 years old in Hackney.
Yeah. A couple hours ago.
Where?
I think it's Mere Street.
Where's Mere Street?
Murder Mile.
Where's that?
That's like...
Yeah, where's Murder Mile again? I've always heard of this place, but I've never...
It's near... Oh, fam, how do I describe
Is it near...
that massive Hackney Empire, whatever it's called.
On the strip.
On the strip.
How far is... What's that ends? What's fucking... How far is it from London Fields?
Ish.
Murder Mile.
Far-ish, I guess.
Okay.
But not far. It's kind of hard for me to think about that right now. But it's not in the same place.
It's not the same place.
It's not the same place.
Yeah, okay.
This guy didn't get killed on Murder Mile though. Upper Clapton, shit. Whoa. No, someone else died in Upper Clapton.
See what I'm saying, bruv?
It's getting a bit too mad.
Morning Lane. Wow. Yeah, it's mad out here.
Statistic that it's overtaken New York.
Yeah, I heard that.
That's embarrassing.
That is crazy, bruv. Like there gets to a point. Like we've had numerous conversations about this anyway, but like.
I told you my ends though. I told you my ends is getting crazy.
You did. Yeah,
I told you time ago.
You did.
In my area, it is crazy. It's always been crazy.
But what made you think this time around it was like when you said it that long ago?
Yeah.
What made you think that?
What
made you see that it was getting like that though?
Because I've never. This is the first time in my life I'm slightly out of touch, but I'm still not out of touch. Yeah. So. When I was younger...
I know what you mean by that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So, like, when I was younger, I really knew everything that was happening in Tottenham. And as you get older and you get kids and shit, you're concerned, but you're not that concerned. Yeah. But I'm still concerned enough to know what was going on. So when I spoke to my younger cousins and all the younger individuals I used to look after when I was a youth worker over there, and they'll tell me the things that was going on, I was like, hold on a minute. What do you mean? That's what's going on? But then I was telling my age group, this is going to be worse than anything you've seen. They're like, nah, bro, we were doing this, we were doing that. I was like, nah, you don't understand. Like, when we were doing it, there was like 3 men that were really going to do that. Max. Now, there's like 20 men that are really going to do that.
Yeah.
So all it means is, just like the repercussions for your actions are so much more severe. Because if you do something, you're not relying on 3 people to get back at you. There's like 20 men. So if there's 2 men that's done something, man can just
like
separate.
Before there was like what you say, like before it was almost like 1 or 2 men. Now it's everyone.
Everyone is bad. And it's not like they're not like what they're willing to do just to be a part of a group of individuals to feel secure is rage. They will just stab at any given opportunity just so they can spit about it in a It's mad out here.
Yeah.
It's mad.
There's another voice in here, by the way, for people that's listening. My brethren, Zach man's in here as well.
What's going on?
You good?
Always a pleasure.
No, you're a teacher as well.
No, not a teacher.
You're not a teacher?
No. I'm assistant head of year. So my role is non-teaching. So
non-teaching. We're gonna get to all of that part as well. So that voice that you hear, that's him. So yeah, we're just having a conversation. But you know, like now, yeah. You see, like when we were having these conversations before, a part of the conversations we were having then were about, like, we'd talk about all the madnesses that were going on, but then we would always try to like figure out what the solution is. You know, like we're like, oh, you know what? But maybe we need this or we need that or that. And I feel like when I've watched other people have conversation about this, everyone's been trying to do the same thing. But of late, I feel like it's getting so mad that nobody actually knows what to say anymore. You know, like that. It's like nobody is even really throwing out suggestions anymore because nobody knows what the fuck to do or what the fucking solution is.
Because we had the answers to what we should have done time ago, but we never acted upon it. And now it's so bad. What we're trying to find is a solution to stop it right now, immediately. Which I feel is the real, like, the silliest approach ever. When things are getting bad, it's a process. And when it gets to this point, if you attack the situation a lot earlier, you can prevent it from getting this bad in this short space of time. Like cancer and loads of other things. You got to attack the thing early. And I said from day one, in 2011 or 2010, when half of the people within my area of Haringey, 75% of youth provision got closed down, that means loads of people that were youth workers are now unemployed. And some of the people that were doing the youth work anyway were slightly out here anyway, and that was just their way of diverting off it. Now they've lost their job after they tried to be correct. They're like, I'm going back out here. But you've got the young people that were out here anyway. Now you just got bare man out here. And then all of a sudden you implement more police within our area, which is fucking stupid, because it's like a prison. It's like you're in an open prison, and you feel imprisonated. You feel like a criminal. The labeling theory is real. Before you know it, you've got this issue where young girls at 17 years old are getting clapped.
Yeah.
Like, cuz.
Well, you know that there's like 20,000 less police officers than there was like. When did they say 2007?
Yeah, there's 20,000, but there's still ain't enough youth clubs. I don't understand. When I was growing up, bro, there was youth clubs everywhere. There was youth clubs in the youth club. This is crazy. Now, cuz, I've never heard my cousins go, yeah, my man just come from youth club. Like, none of them. And I'm from a Jamaican family whose contraception perception just went out the window, fam. There's bare of us, fam. And none of them go youth club.
Was you going to say something? Oh, okay.
This is mad to me. To me, it's
I
mad.
agree. I definitely agree. I feel like there's not enough things that bring young people together, because a lot of these things, it sounds stupid, but if there's a familiarity between me and somebody, even at a young age of 13, it probably limits the like magnitude that a problem can grow to, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Even stuff like, it might sound stupid, but team sports like football. Westway is just where everyone used to knock around, yeah? If I played in the same midfield as you, our problems can only go so far now. You know what I'm saying? We've been working as a team. Like, you're learning life skills whilst you're playing a match. Realistically, unselfish runs, working for each other, blah 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 blah. These kind of things, when you take them away, it definitely has like a negative impact on the youth in general. There's no familiarity. Like, rivalry is a thing amongst boys anyway. And then what? Like, you're just splitting areas. You're splitting.
But then now it's gone to a point where it's like all of these things have been taken away. Now, even if you implement them now, it's too late. Like,
yeah, it's too late for today, but it's not too late for tomorrow. And I think that's what we should be thinking about. Everything we do today is to implement some type of change into tomorrow anyway. So why we don't just start doing some things that can be more long-term beneficial for places like Haringey, and I'm sure there's loads of other boroughs where it's really bad. Why that's not happening is somewhat beyond me. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense, because the situation that was happening prior to them taking away youth provision was working quite well. I'm not saying things were perfect. Things are never perfect, but where it is right now is very, very extreme. And what they don't understand is, if you're from an area like Tottenham, or I say Tottenham because that's where I'm from, like that's what I know, and then I've moved over to Wood Green, and I'm from the North London area now. I've lived in like 3 different areas in North London, 4. I can tell you right now, Chucks, the man that man them listen to is the man that they've grown up with. So if one of the people in your area was a teacher and he lives in your area and you see him at least 3-4 times in a week, you're more likely to listen to him. And that's what the youth workers were. They were just teachers after school that you saw in the area anyway. And now they got a piece of authority. You kind of rate them for getting to that position. So when they say to you, bro, I beg you don't do that, more time, off the strength of the respect you have for them, you don't do it. And that's like communities. That's how you build communities, and that's how you raise the children. It's a village. There ain't no village raising these kids no more. These men are out here just finding their own little groups and saying, we're going to raise ourselves.
Exactly.
And what makes it worse is, like, even down to being successful back in the day, the entry level to success, or which was money and cars and nice women and all of that, the gangsters, there wasn't that many of them that would be able to do it.
Yeah.
There wasn't that many man that were really doing the, you know, the VW Golf with the shiny rims and the light skinned girl with the slick down hair. There wasn't bare examples. Do you know what I mean? Then So Solid opened a couple of doors, but there still wasn't bare examples. But in terms of going to university, getting a degree, and maybe going into being an athlete, there was bare examples. Then all of a sudden, YouTube's born. Now there's bare examples of bad boys online progressing in some capacity, making money, so on and so forth. And it's accessible. All I got to do is stab a couple man, make a 1-2 tune.
On the flip side to that though,
isn't
there bare example, like the YouTube's born, isn't there, on that same token, bare examples of just man making something for themselves and doing something productive though?
No, but I'm not blaming YouTube.
I'm not
blaming. What I'm blaming is the mentality of these people anyway. Some of them are very weak-minded. So if they see an opportunity for them to explore their insecurity to get some type of social gain, they'll do it. And in YouTube, there's a way for you to explore your insecurity and be told, don't worry, you're alright. I'm a bad boy, but you know what? I'm a bad boy, I've got short man syndrome, but I'm going to go on YouTube and tell man I'm going to do this and do that. Before you know it, man, I'm like, he's cold, cut, he's ruthless. Yeah, I heard he clapped down some youth the other day. Like, these youths are bare insecure, fam. They're so concerned with what everyone else thinks of them.
Yeah. Do you remember when, like, the video thing, like, was like a new thing where man was like getting just caught slipping and that and just getting slapped and punched?
The Blackberry
Happy
days.
slap.
Was it? No,
Happy slap.
Happy slapping thing.
Yeah,
No, it wasn't even Blackberry days. 3G. The 3G phone.
Huh?
No, you're right, because I remember we used to get on that Engage thing.
It's the big,
Yeah,
it's the big 3G phone.
On that phone.
Yeah.
It's these big 3G phones that came out. They were giving them away from basically nothing. We had so much of them in the hood, and that's where you had Happy Slap.
Videos of man getting kidnapped and put
Strip
in a
naked
bar.
and
Strip naked and that.
That was a popular one. Yeah, run home.
What do you think about all of this though?
To be honest, I said something a few years ago and people looked at me and they laughed. But it's slowly becoming more and more of a reality in certain aspects of it. So I said, this generation's lost. And I said, what do you mean? I said, it's too late. Slightly similar to what Poet was saying regarding youth clubs and stuff. Like, we cut it off however many years ago, and now it's got so bad that if you brought it back, it's too late. I said, wash your hands off this particular generation, and it sounds harsh, and focus on the next one. Because these youths do not care. Everything's accessible. There's youths now under the age of 20 that are making more peas than we could figure out when we was at the equivalent ages. Like, to me, when I was growing up as a 15-year-old, football, Power Rangers, football. Pretty much my day.
2 Mario Kart.
Get me? But now, these youths are on so much crud so young. They want so much things so young, but it's also very accessible for them. So they buy into the perception. They buy into the dream. They see people talking about things in music videos, but they don't understand that might be rented. She might be rented. There's actually water in that Ciroc bottle. He still lives with his mum with his Superman sheets. He's not actually balling like that. But they see it and they think, I want that now.
Yeah.
And that I want it now thing is serious.
Yeah. Do you know what, yeah, as well, like my little bit of analysis on this whole thing is, yeah, that some of the beef that some of the young bucks are partaking in right now it's real hereditary, yeah, but to a point where they don't know half the time where the beef actually really stems from. All they know is that I don't get on with this ends and this ends don't get on with me, and that's that. But what's happening, I'm going to use a couple of examples and use examples of today, yeah? So, like, for example, let's just say, like, in the 80s or 90s, someone's been shot in a certain end. Then there's retaliation now, so they've gone over there, shot someone. Then there's a next retaliation. Then there's a next retaliation. Before you know it now, within discussion and all of this hatred and whatever, the younger lot that are growing up are hearing about all of this and then taking some of this on now. I don't get on with them. They don't get on with me. I don't get on with them. They don't get on with me. Then the next lot come through and it's the same thing. And then what happens is you get to a point where this has moved on 5-6 times. They don't understand that the root cause of this was actually this one thing that happened there. All they know is that this is a situation that's going on. I'm born into that, and that's that. I don't like them, man, and that's that. There's nothing that you can do about it. But then what happens, yeah? What happens when someone close to you, say you're on this road thing, and someone close to you dies, especially someone that's innocent, how do you then intervene and say, you know what, allow it now?
Do you want to at that point?
Because the thing is, they won't want to. Because imagine if something happens to one, let's say something happens to one of you might be in a beef from long time. If something happens, even if you've done 10 wrongs, yeah, if someone has come and retaliated and done something to one of your family members or someone that's close to you, how do I or Poet or a next man or whoever come to you and say, you know what, it's long now? Because in your head, you're going to be thinking, fuck that. Yeah. Like, these men have done such and such to so-and-so. So then how do you... There can't be a solution.
It's hard. Can't be. Do you know what it is? I think a lot of it is the bravado. Not the bravado as such, but as men, we want to feel like men, if that makes sense. So if you do something to me, Chucky, I can either be what is considered the actual bigger man and let it go, or I can be what the kind of representation of a real man is and go harder than you and get you back in a worse way than you got me. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is what it is. It's just that we're at the
I don't
top
think the
tier
bigger
of
man
this now.
It's more ego.
Quote,
It's an ego thing.
The ego thing is real right
That's
now.
what I'm saying. I'm saying this, like, in reality, the right thing to do is just let it go, whatever it is. But it's so much harder in... You know what? It's mad because I get it. You see beef and all of that. I remember it, like, very clearly. Like, I get it, but I always had, like, something in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you had. This is what I think this is so mad. Because what Chucky said was, there's no solution. But I don't even know if people know what they want. I genuinely don't think people know what they want. And that's a confusing statement because everyone will say, Poet, clearly we all want the stabbing to stop. If you want something to stop, and then I say the people, like the working class individuals that are really going through this shit, of course we want this to stop. We would do anything to it to stop. But the country, do you really want it to stop? No. Because there's a process, like I said earlier, that has helped this manifest in this capacity in the first place. That is quite obvious. There's nothing that you can implement today that's going to go against the process that built it to this point. You have to respect the process and understand whatever you implement today, it might only start working properly, effectively for everyone to see in like 10 years time. And that is what we have to understand. 100%. There is no point in trying to think we're going to do stop and search and all this other bollocks. It's not going to fucking
there's no quick solution
work. There's no quick fix for this. This is a severe problem. If you genuinely care, like you really care about what the fuck's happening in communities like mine, because I'm fucking broken hearted, fam, like real shit. Like people I know are phoning me crying, fam. It's no fucking joke. If you feel the way I feel, then come to the communities, sit down with the people and ask them about the good times and figure out what you can implement today that could potentially bring that back. Don't just do all this whole, let's just get more police and all this other bollocks. It doesn't make sense to me. People are dying, bruv. Like 17-year-old girl. What the fuck? Shot. Her friends are all beside her watching their friend die. Now there's 4 more other people affected in this situation. One of them might not even be able to recover mentally, bruv. They might just all turn crazy to her.
Of course.
Like the amount of situations that can manifest off this one problem are incredibly mad. And the only way I feel that you can really help the younger generation is provide healthy alternatives. You can't tell me not to do something unless you give me justification and an alternative to do something else. I'm just going to do what I'm doing. I'm living my life. How can you tell me to stop doing what I'm doing when this is somewhat working for me? I'm making money. I have respect. I have power. I have all the things that I seek. Provide me an alternative when I can make those free.
What is an alternative, though?
Take a look at Conan's situation.
It's not really
Conan's situation is a perfect example of an alternative where you say, do you know what, I will risk it for this alternative. We have to take into consideration what happened to this boy. This is why mentally Conan might be the strongest person in my phone book. Just mentally, more than anyone I know. Take into consideration Conan is a road man, product of the roads. He's followed home. He's explained this to us. They've come into his yard. They've attacked, they've shot at his mum, fam. We all know how we feel about our mums. They've killed his stepdad. And my man has said, I'm not going to retaliate. I'm just going to do music. And his way of winning is taking his mum on fucking television when he won a mobile. Like, we need to understand that type of mental strength doesn't exist in my phone book, only with Conan. He is the most incredible human I've probably met in my life, fam. Just for that one situation alone. That's living proof to me that providing healthy alternatives works. So why are we not doing that?
Yeah, but then, do you know what? What you've said is 100% true, yeah? And he's used a healthy alternative. But what's different from another you that is going through this type of thing and not using that same healthy alternative that Conan did? Because Conan's
one alternative as well.
There needs to be more than one. There needs to be like a few. And I think if we implement and provide that from 11 years old for these kids, when they step into secondary school and they're around a lot older teenagers, and let them know, yo, we need to learn some life skills now.
Yeah.
Let's teach you how to manage money. Because in 4 years' time, you're going to get your national insurance number, or 3 years' time, and you could potentially get a job. And you're going to be excited at the prospect of getting money. But guess what? If you save it and you show them, like, maybe by 16 years old, they don't want to go to college because they've learned their life skills. And do you know where I'm coming from? Provide healthy alternatives. In this country, you're told, go school, after school, go college, after college, go university. Like, that's the mindset you're in. So by the time you get to university, you've realised, fuck, I didn't want to do any of this. It's too late now. And I think even some of the people that tried the straight and narrow, because if they've only told they've got two alternatives, education or road, fam, some of them halfway through education drop out and do road. Because they're like, I've tried this, I don't like it.
Do you know what? Someone else mentioned that not that long ago, yeah, and they got absolutely slaughtered for that still.
What, saying what?
That whole same thing about people feeling like they've only got two alternatives, education or road.
100%.
Yeah.
Why would he get slaughtered?
No, it was science. Science said it, and people were just like, "Oh, whatever." I'm not even getting into that. I wasn't saying that to counteract. I was just saying that.
That's just mad to me when they would say that. That's a.
But the thing is as well is that, like, I think the point I was trying to make is that you mentioned earlier, that, for example, see, like, the internet, the internet's come now, and you're seeing bare examples of people that have fucking they're succeeding in being a bad boy, but then also you're seeing perception. Perception.
Because not all of them are.
Yeah, not all of them are. A very small percentage of them are, actually. To be
some of the ones that are don't have time to do the music because they're on the crowd that much.
But then you've got, like, you have examples of people that have become very successful, like, doing shit themselves in whatever means that may be, like whether it be a YouTuber or fucking, I don't know, someone who can make gadgets or good with phones, or I don't know, someone showing off their football skills. I don't know, like, there's so many different things here. So, like, are these not part of healthy alternatives that young youths can look at to say that it could be them? Whereas with me and you, when we were growing up, it was a lot different. Like, our generation was so, you know, like, you are like
we stayed younger for longer.
I hear that, but this is the thing. This is my point. Even when we mentioned, like, So Solid always comes up a lot. But So Solid was like, that was
us.
That was us, but it was like, we ain't seeing shit like this before.
Like, that was us.
These lot are on TV. And like, this is mad. Like, I see Mega Man pull up at the under 18s in a TT the other day. I see Asher D doing that. Like, that's crazy. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Now, like, there's countless examples of not just artists, but, like, young people that look like us that are doing productive stuff that probably ain't getting praised as much as we probably could do. I'm not going to say, like, we don't do that here, because I feel like we do. I feel like sometimes we do have conversations and try to praise people and all of that stuff. But, like, it almost goes back to what you fundamentally said, in the fact that, like they don't care really. Like, these lot don't care about that. Like, they don't care about that. We have to almost bypass that to look at the next generation and make sure that doesn't happen to them. I think that, like, even then what you said about, you know, like, feeling like, like I was just saying that I felt that, you know, there's no solution or whatever, and you said, you know what, you can implement stuff that may not work now but work 10 years down the line, is probably the best thing. But all that means is that with those things that you do implement, there's probably going to be, like, even if you, let's say tomorrow or, like, over a year's time, they started putting bare community centres and all of that type of stuff, we have to expect that there's probably going to be a lot of murders at these community centres, and then after a period of time, then maybe it might start to calm down. But is community going to be ready for that? Because you say that, but you know what? Just before you say what you need to say, I just think that with the way that everything is right now, and the mindset of some of these youths right now, you put these community centres there, and then now you're almost giving youths a place to go for another youth to know where my man's at. Then
you're focusing on the negative, though. I tell you why. Because you're thinking about the problem that we have and the solution, but you're forgetting about the countless amount of young people that we do have that are not doing nothing. They're just in the middle. And they can do stuff, but they choose not to. They can go here with their group of friends, but they choose not to, because either they believe it's not safe or their parents believe it's not safe. Some young people today, their parents were on crud. They have no idea that their parents were on crud. Oh, Dad, can I go to so-and-so's birthday party? What's the person's name? Okay, cool. I know his dad. Yeah, you're not going.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the argument. Unfortunately, we focus so much on the negative that we forget about the kids who are doing the right things. The kids that do have the mindset to succeed.
So sad.
But if we forget about them and just focus on the negative ones, what's going to happen to? They're going to feel I might as well do road then, innit?
I hear that.
Because they only care about us when we're doing road. When we're not doing nothing, no one's talking about us. No one's coming up to us saying, how do you feel? What do you want to do? What are you interested in? We're going to those youths over there because they've been there for 12 hours straight, just on the corner, and we're asking them, what do they want? But the other kids that are in by 6, we're not talking to them.
Yeah,
Do you know why I agree with that so much? Because naturally, we're just a generation of popularity over quality. And that's so sad because that means the most popular kid that needs the most attention, all the guys that are cool just get neglected. And it's so mad that I've seen that in both sides. I was very, very quiet when I was younger. Very quiet. Teachers didn't have to worry about me. I just got on with my work. I didn't trouble anyone. Mad quiet. Eventually, I just realised I didn't really get much attention in school. But then when I was cheeky, everyone laughed, I got attention, and all of a sudden that becomes a habit because you kind of like that, feeds your little insecurity. Before you know it, you're the clown of the class. You're always in trouble with your teacher. And then after 3 years of doing that, you're like, fuck, I kind of preferred not getting in any trouble. Life was so much easier for me. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I shouldn't have to even, and as a child, you don't really know much. You just sort of learning it as you're going through life, as you're just sort of maneuvering. And I just feel like in the education system, I can't speak for it now, I don't work in the schools, but I would hope that they're given an even amount of time to the people that obviously need it because of their behaviour, but at the same time, making sure they give a certain amount of attention to the people that are doing their work, but is there anything more we can do for you? For the simple fact that I just feel like some of the students that are fucking about will look at the attention that the good students are getting and think to themselves, I think I prefer to be treated like that. But all the kids that were bad like me, bruv, we would go to S4L, fam, the seats were comfortable, man's not doing work. Now, I was like, you allowed me to get away with murder. Like, you fully, like, I remember one time the teacher was like, oh, I'm going to phone your mum. I took my phone out, phoned my mum, like, yeah, mum, this teacher's always talking about phoning you. Here you go. And she couldn't believe it. Like, why did I have that freedom? Everyone's busting up now. I was like, oh, you're a chicken, fam. You can't just, if you're going to say it, do it, innit? If you're going to say it, this is how I was talking to my teachers. I think I don't know. I just don't think they give enough attention to the good students, man.
Yeah, I hear that still. I think that you're probably right. Sometimes we probably
I don't think we do it on purpose.
Yeah, you don't.
And I think working in the education system, I'm also guilty of it. But sometimes I recognise it and I will go and seek out. So, right, so-and-so hasn't been in trouble for time. Let me go and check him and see how he is. And let him know we appreciate the fact that you're trying. Yeah. Because we talk to them all the time about, you need to do better. You need to try. You need to improve. You need to raise your attendance. But then when they do that, we just don't say nothing to them.
Yeah. Imagine this though. What's so sad is, despite the fact that the situation happening in North London is terrible, I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it. It's terrible. Do you know how many successes we've probably had within the past year as well? And yeah, none of us have celebrated them.
Yeah, you're right.
We've never celebrated any of these young people.
Nail on the head with that one.
Like when there's like when people get signed to labels, okay, we can talk about, oh, we don't need the labels, but mate, in some of these kids' journey, we should fucking celebrate this and sing it to the fucking roofs. That's for real. If we sing about that as much as we sing about these bloody deaths and all of that, before you know it, we're going to be singing about a lot more positive things than negative.
Let me say this as well, yeah? You see, like with this podcast here, yeah, me and Poet, we chat, all of us, we chat, like, we're friends, innit? So we just chat like how we would be talking if we was in the front room or whatnot. And at times, with people coming from where we come from and loving the culture so much, yeah, at times we're going to be critical of it. At times we're going to dissect certain things. At times I'm going to say, you know what, I didn't like my man's album or this girl's freestyle. I didn't like this or I did like that. But ultimately, I love to see people win. Do you get me? People that look like me as well, I love to see them win because I understand how difficult it is. So I always try to throw out there on a casual vibe that don't misunderstand our critique for, you know, the hating of someone's career. Because it's never that. It's never that. If you're doing something productive and you're making legal money and you're doing your thing and, you know what I mean, you're changing your life or whatever, that's amazing. If you're helping your mum or your family or people that are close to you and doing all of that stuff, that's amazing. I still might turn around in the context of a conversation and say, rah, I didn't really like that song there, you know. Like, I didn't like the production on that. But that's different.
Wrong with that, yeah.
That's different.
You shouldn't have to explain yourself for that. I feel like anyone that doesn't understand that concept anyway, that's more to do with them than it's to do with any of us. Boy, I ain't got time to explain to adults that I do like you, I just don't like your music. I haven't even got time to articulate that conversation. It's silly.
Yeah. I wasn't saying it for any particular, I was just saying in the context of conversation.
Yeah, what are you saying?
But in the context of like kind of celebrating people's success or whatnot. But
that's a massive issue.
We need to celebrate people's success that is, I don't know, like we very rarely do we talk about doctors, lawyers or whatever, or we don't really see them. And because, as you said, popularity is the winner right now, and you get very popular by being seen and being in places and blah blah blah. You become a bigger influence, and that's kind of what feeds an ego and creates this person in it. Even from young, yeah, like positive reinforcement is what drives a human, just in general. You see what I'm saying? So whatever you do, if everyone claps for you and says, "Oh, that's great," the chances are you'll continue to do that. So as soon as we start clapping and approving of all the bad stuff, we're going in a direction that we don't even know where this is going off. You see what I'm saying? So when we start celebrating people that are saying, there's some mad tunes that I love. But when you actually break it down and think, what is man saying? Man, he's actually going nuts. And we're okay with it.
I just say the beat's hard.
Yeah, but the majority but to be honest with you, the majority of the time, it is more the beat than anything, really.
No, but you see, sometimes I see myself like, obviously reciting the words and that, and I feel, woof, this is a bag of violence.
Yeah,
bag of violence.
Yeah, but Savage, I'll be honest with you, at the same time, yeah, them man are just... this is what's happening.
The beat's
I
hard.
know,
but
but what I'm saying is the positive
the beat's hard,
reinforcement. If no one liked that, trust me, it wouldn't happen.
No, but I don't have a problem with the music coming out and it being negative. I just think that is sick. For you to tell me exactly what you're living today in a way where sonically I could appreciate it, I think that is fucking positive.
No, it's definitely, it's art.
That's a fucking 100%. Cry for help. If that's not, you're basically saying, can you come and save the ends indirectly? This is what the fuck's happening.
But in a strange kind of weird way, it's glorified.
It's glorified because that's what's happening. And I think the biggest problem is the people that say, no, that's a problem, that song's the song can't be the problem. Because if you get rid of the music, that situation still exists. So the fact that we're hearing music which gives us an indication of what these young people are going through is fucking the most positive thing you could ever find out, ever. Because without it, how do we know what's happening in North London? Without this music, a man saying this happened here and this happened there, we don't even know as older individuals what's happening in our community. We have no way of knowing.
I hear that, but I disagree with that at the same time.
Yeah, so I hear that. So it's good when
I think I need to know.
There's so many different ways of finding out that there's a madness going on.
No, but I'm not. Imagine this. Imagine I'm not in charge of that. You see the way certain people will pass on information. I can't say do it like this. I'm not you. So if you pass it on and I can see that there's an issue, for example, I hear this music. Who's the first people I phone? Yo, cuz you lot stay in the house for a little while. If you're coming to my house, I'm getting you an Uber. You're not leaving the house, fam. It's mad out here now. That's how I'm talking to my cousins off the back of hearing that, because my life's crazy, fam. So when I hear something like that or see something on social media, I'm like, boom, straight to my cousins. Look, we need to do this to help it, and so on and so forth. I need to know what's happening in my community.
But that's good for you. But what about if the rare tear that's being taught on a track is about you, or you know what I'm saying? Like, is some kind of like you're still very. If you're looking at
it properly, them lot have been snitching on themselves for years. The only problem is now the police are listening. So if you continue to do that, you're gonna get.
They've always been listening.
They've always been listening. But like now, for example, off hearing a song or seeing something on social media, imagine 2 nights ago in our area, it was stop and search for 12 hours.
Really?
For 12 hours, it was stop and search. So that's off the back of people snitching on themselves. So if that means it's going to promote instant change.
You think it's because of that, or do you think?
No, they said it. They said it. They said because of a social media
violence that's been happening on the streets.
No, they said. Do you know what? I wish I screenshotted it, but I deleted it because I don't even want to see that in my phone. Okay. But it said because of the activities on social media or something like that. Boom, 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 boom.
So not the music.
We have implemented, but obviously whatever it all stemmed from the music. Yeah, it stemmed from the music, and because the person they done something to was an artist, and so it all stems from the music. But yeah, like they advertised, and the whole area was locked down to the point my boy Mitch came to my house. A big bully van followed him all the way. Yeah. Like it, and I don't want that. But what's happening is there's an awareness of it, and I agree with you. I wish there was an alternative method to finding out. But guess what? That is the method of finding out right now. So if it means that we can now be more aware,
I think maybe for me, maybe because I've always been like this anyway. To be honest with you, to a degree. But like music like that to me is almost like how I see my food. So, and what I mean by that is that I can listen to a song, right? And a man could be chatting all different types of crud, but I'm just listening to the crud and not really particularly thinking that this is a mad thing that exists. The same way that like, I look at, like, I don't associate a chicken with my food. If I just like it, if I eat it, I like it. I don't think, this is actually an animal. It's the same with the music.
I was wondering where you're going with that.
Yeah, I don't think like I'm very good at separating the art from like all of the stuff that's going on. But
you're not thinking about the trials and tribulations of the chicken.
Exactly.
But
it was only until when I've heard like. Not only until, because that's probably wrong, because I've known.
But I understand fully where you're coming from.
But you know what? When I've heard one of my family members now saying certain things or whatnot, I'm taking it very seriously. I'm associating the chicken with the KFC now. Do you get me?
But Chucky, at the same time, I reckon you, as me, because the reason why I say it's positive, this is a very personal thing, and I'm not saying it's positive people are dying, but most of these people that talk about it, a lot of them are not doing anything like that. So what they're doing is they're just building this awareness that they're storytelling, and they've seen it, or they've been around it, or they've felt the energy. They're not necessarily the person implementing it. So I'm just glad that there's an awareness of the situations that are happening, because like I said, there's a 17-year-old girl now that is dead, fam. Like, her family are probably all mourning now. We went to Northumberland Park the other day, and if you saw the faces on some of these young youths, cause this is realer than people even imagine. This is the most.
Listen, I know that people are always trying to tie the music to what's going on the streets here. And at the end of the day, as Poet said, I feel like this problem still exists, irrespective of the music anyway.
Yeah.
But like, the one thing that I will not dismiss is that like, although this thing goes far deeper than the music, like far deeper than music.
It's a part of the problem.
I still feel like music, there's been so much times here where something in music has like massively inspired me to do small things, like even if it means like pick up the phone and ring someone or send an email, or like make me get up the next day early and want to really get it. You know, I see people that are like doing stuff and I think, did you watch the Defiant ones, by the way? This is going off topic. Fucking hell, bruv. It's so amazing, bro. Like, it's on Netflix. You got to watch the Defiant ones. It's Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine.
Oh, yeah. It's on my to-do list.
It's amazing. So the same way that shit really inspires me to really want to get up and get something, I'm not taken away from the fact that for some people, you could flip the coin on his head.
Can I pause you there? This is where I disagree in a lot of senses. I feel like when it comes to a particular type of music, you've programmed yourself to do a particular thing before the music's even played. I.e., when I used to invite girls to my house, I'd put on the slow jam playlist. Now, there's no guarantee that we're going to have sex, but that's going to put us in the mood to do what I wanted to do anyway. I kind of feel that can still be implemented to the rude boy thing. When their man are about to do something, they're in a mood anyway. They're like, I'm gonna smash up this shoe. Then they play the music and it just enhances what they were gonna do anyway. And if there wasn't music, they would have found another alternative.
That's one scenario though.
No, that is one scenario. I just think the music is one of the smallest issues within the situation, because all it does is advertise what they were gonna do anyway. If we said we can't do music, there'll be another issue. So for me, in problems like this, forget the stem, forget the leaves, forget the petals, take the root, and that is the issue. And the moment you think about anything else, you're just deterring away from what the actual problem is. And this problem is so bad, I don't even want to hear about people talking about the music.
Do you know what?
We are so past that.
My last thing on that is, when I watched Paid in Full and listened to Raekwon, I wanted to sell hella crack.
Bro, I can't watch them kind of films.
I know, but
I can't watch
that's
them.
me.
That was
I wanted to sell.
And
you know what? I was already. There was certain things that was going on already.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie. It made me want to make a couple more phone calls
on
that.
Even
and
Netflix,
that's me.
When I watch these,
so I'm not gonna take that away. That's the truth.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that as entertainment. No, I'm saying when I was watching these man, like making peas like that and living like that, and I was young and listening to Raekwon. Bruv.
But then same, Chucky, and the flip side of that, if we watch a video from a roadman saying he's gonna kill man, it's got 4 million views. If we quantify that into people watching it, say it's 2.7 million people, 2.7 million people haven't gone out and killed anyone.
Of course not.
That the percentage of people that watch that video to actually going out and doing something must be hella small. Yeah. So that there, to me, says that is a very, very minute problem within the situation.
But that same logic there, you could say that the actual people that are committing the crime is a extremely small percentage of people that are doing that anyway.
So that's why I say, for me, with the music, I'm just like, look, lads, that is such a small problem we have right now. That's just a way for them to advertise it. We can't even listen to the music and say everyone there's committed a crime. Some people are just there because they're there in the video. So do you know what? We can say it's a way of us identifying something, but it's such a small problem. It is such a small problem. People just say that as a way of saying, yeah, if we get rid of the music, it's almost a way of conditioning your mindset to say that's the issue. Once we get rid of that, we're good.
Do people say get rid of it though?
But music,
like, I don't. The thing is, bro, I hear a lot of people discussing it, but I don't like.
Stop them doing it. They can't be doing it. Shut down.
How can you stop?
Chucky,
you can't
here's the
stop
thing.
youths from making music
The
that they want to make.
The people are from the outside looking in, who don't know what time it is and don't know what's going on and won't know the person who knows the person of the person affected, or even know the person who's affected directly. When they're looking at it, they look at the music, they look at the culture, they look at the dress code, and they think music's the problem. It's a part of the problem. It's not the problem.
Of course not.
I don't per se have a problem with people being modern day storytellers. I do have a problem with the overuse of the N-word in the music.
So does Chucky. He influenced me.
Now,
I don't think that's a part of the problem, though.
No, but let me explain. I'm gonna give you an example. I saw, and there was an Afghani that used to go to my school, came up to me and goes, "Yeah, what's up, man?" I was like, "Nah, cut that out." And I said, "Whoever you're hanging around with, that makes you think that it's acceptable for you to walk up to me and say that, clearly ain't educating you properly. So I'm gonna do the educating for you. Don't go up to no black man and say that. No matter how comfortable they make you feel, that's not how we all feel. Don't do that with me." If that's just that problem between me and him, how is it regarding when they're drinking or they're smoking or they're driving, or can we rush that at you, or can we beat up that at you, or I don't know that you's face from around here, so can we put it on him?
I hear you, but I don't think that this is tied into like the problem that's going on the road like that. I don't. If there is any type of thing that is related to that in any shape or form, which is still not that related, there's a conversation to be had about like self-hate. You know, people a lot of the time say that, you know, like they look at people that are like for example, there might be a youth that he might be on stuff and he might be more onto me knowing that I look like him than he would be onto a normal civilian that has nothing to do with anything. So then some people tie that to some type of deep-rooted self-hate thing, which, if that is the case, that stems back from however many thousands of years ago.
I think it's a threatening thing. Someone who looks like you's some kind of like deep within our instincts, a threat to you. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't even see what I'm saying, but yeah. But like, as in,
no,
like,
I hear it.
You get it?
It's
as
like, all right, for example, if you're on holiday and you're chilling around the pool, you're the only black man there, and then you see another black man across. It should be a well, go on. We made it.
That's my
but more time, it's like,
what's my man on?
Yeah.
What's my man?
All of a sudden, you feel threatened.
That's it.
Like, embrace it. We're here, innit? We're chilling.
A lot of us say this because we're from London, though. I know some of my friends that are black and they live in different parts of England, like Eugene, for example. And more time when he sees black people, he's like, "Hey, what's going on? You're right." Because where he's grown up, he doesn't have that perception of the situation because it's not a crabs in a bucket situation like it is for us in London. Black people are put more, if we're being honest, in that some of the worst living conditions, the worst areas. We just feel shit about ourselves anyway. So when you look at somebody else and you can misconstrue them looking at you funny because they're also feeling shit about themselves. Next, you know, you're having a confrontation about absolutely fuck all, and then that just becomes a common theme for everyone's life for the next 20, 30 years. But if we were all spaced out, put in nice areas and so on and so forth, we wouldn't be like this. So us hating each other makes perfect sense to me, if I'm being totally honest with you. So
London's a complicated
It does,
city.
but then it's like, you know what? I don't even disagree with that at all. But then I just think like this is me being idealistic, but why couldn't it just be a thing where it's like, rah, us lot are in this shit. Like, we need to stick together and try to get out of this.
But some of us are, though, because look in this room, we are like that. I think there's a lot of people that are like it. But what did I say, bro?
You're right.
It's a popularity
and it's
contest.
a habit that we all do.
Right.
Of course, you go to YouTube, fam. You could have 20 good comments, one bad one, and you just sit there and break that down for the rest of your life. But again, those situations that you have, they are your problem. People need to understand that we need to try and empower our people. By empowering our people, we understand the decisions we make have a massive impact on our lives. We consistently give responsibility of our lives to other people. For example, you feel shit about yourself because someone said something about you. That's not even true. Like, that is a mad concept. If you know it's not true, there's nothing for you to be concerned about. So when you see that comment on YouTube saying some bollocks that doesn't mean anything, you can ignore it if you have self-love, if you have self-empowerment. But if you don't have those things, fuck me.
Those things need to be implemented in you from
early. And then when it's not, then what happens? And then
you
what
have
happens
these situations
then?
you have now. You have insecure girls on Instagram pretending that they've spent money in Dubai when a guy's flying them over. You got all these guys fighting each other in the hood over things that don't make any sense. For example, postcode. You're only there because it's a fucking poor part of London, working class.
And you're gonna move soon anyway.
You're probably gonna move soon anyway. Like, it's absolute bollocks. And then you're fighting and defending something, knowing that the repercussions for your actions is courtesy of the Queen, a holiday with loads of guys. Like, the whole thing is mad. But again, it stems from struggle. And one thing I read, I can't remember where I read this, but people, when they're in survival mode situations, they go to animal instincts. And naturally, animals are territorial. Naturally, animals don't like, for example, the same animal being around them too long that they don't know. So, and that's how we are as humans as well. We have animal instincts. When we're born, you get a baby, put them next to a tit, boom, they know there's milk in there. How the fuck do you know that? You've been alive for like 5 seconds. So, it's animal instinct, survival. Do you know what I mean? Bullshit as well, but fuck it. I'm wearing an Uber hat.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh my
Isn't
god.
it?
Comfortable in your own skin. That's important, you know.
Hey man.
That's very important. Being comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah, he's very, very comfortable in this.
So a lot of these young bucks aren't comfortable in.
I don't
their
think
own skin.
they got a chance to learn who they were. For example, we
Too busy trying to figure out who they want to be.
I kind of think, it's mad, but being a con in life is a huge life skill. You throw me in a room full of, I don't know, middle-aged white men, and I might chameleon into whatever I need to be.
So glad you said that.
Turn into that, whatever's suitable for that room. You throw me in, I don't know, like, if a girl brings me home to meet her parents, I'm gonna probably try and be as well-mannered as possible and blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm saying? So
a lot of these youths don't have that.
You put me in a room with the man, them, I'll be one of you as well. Do you see what I'm saying? But I don't think that these lot of goons 24s. That takes a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy.
Well, here's the question: when did that happen? Because I think I slept on that.
When did what happen?
Do you remember there was a time when you speak to your parents one way, spoke to your teachers another way, spoke to your friends the next way?
Yeah.
I'm seeing youths calling their mum fam, bruv, cuzzy.
It's gone too far. It has,
saying mums when the mum's next to them. I'm like, when did this happen? Because I couldn't talk to my parents like that. I had to fix it up.
It's when kids started having kids.
I was just about to say
that.
that.
It's so mad, fam.
I was just about to say that.
When you're a 17-year-old parent, and like Dan identified earlier, you don't even know yourself, and now you've got to be a parent. You don't even know yourself. You've just gone through all these struggles in your own life. Then you got to raise this little kid who's so selfish because he just wants you for everything. You're like, fucking, all right, I'll feed you.
Exactly
like, it's a mad pressure. You're growing, learning yourself, and trying to learn to be a parent as well. That's how you get this
and
little kid.
Fuck tradition anyway, dude.
Fam.
That's a long. Like, you know what?
Is it a generational thing as well? So, for example, at the moment, you'd say, or I would say, Caribbeans have probably been here one generation longer than Africans, So, African parents, like people's parents, are going to be quite more African than our parents are, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
So, they have stricter upbringing sometimes, like Nigerians or Ghanaians here, like, you have to respect your elders, blah, 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 blah. And that part of the culture kind of keeps young people in check, at least up to a certain point. So at least they know where boundaries are because the culture is kind of, like their parents' culture has taught them boundaries.
But where did you learn that though? This is the thing.
Exactly, but I'm saying, now when that young person becomes a parent, he'll lose a little bit of that culture because
but he wouldn't
he grew up
if he had a community. This is what's so mad. You see, we've come from villages, you know. So in villages, everyone was raised by the village, and you learned the hierarchy, and you learned certain people's position, and that's how you learned respect, and that's how you learned how to talk to certain people, because everyone within that community treated particular people in particular ways, and you identify that as a youngster, and you grow up and you're like, oh, why did he get spoken to like that? And you learn his position, and that's what happened within our community anyway. We knew that was the rude boy in the estate, that's why no one spoke to him like that, and that was the shop guy who always runs jokes, so everyone can run joke with him, and I was the person that was a community worker that would help everyone get into jobs and all that. So you learned that within our community, and you learned how to adapt and talk to various different types of people. There's none of that. There's no community no more.
Yeah, everyone's just
man just out here just doing whatever, fam.
Yeah, everyone's just.
So isn't that the community now?
That's not a community.
What community?
Though. That's no community at all.
I hear you.
It's not necessarily a community.
community.
It's more a culture. And I feel like that the culture, I don't even know what the culture is, but the culture has superseded the community aspects of things. So the point where what was important to us growing up and what's important to the modern day young person, completely different.
Yeah.
Our priorities are gone left, and similar to what we've been saying about how to speak to certain people, is one thing knowing how to speak to parents or work colleagues and choosing not to. Some of them just don't know how to speak to people.
Yeah.
And that's because they haven't grown up in it.
If I know how to speak to you and I choose not to, that's a conscious decision.
I'm just looking at like the community how it was when I was younger, yeah, and like in my area growing up on my estate, my first estate anyway, it was like predominantly, it was a white area. I was from a white area. Now
Rich.
Nah, most definitely not, bro. Trust me. Mate, not my estate, bro. There was all kinds of shit going on in there. But yeah, so my angle on things are a bit different because of just how the area that I grew up in and the stuff that I saw. Like a lot of people never saw skinheads and shit like that. Like that wasn't a thing for them. I used to see skinheads in my area all the time. I used to see NF fucking graffitied all over the place, National Front and that. Remember NF?
Them days were serious, you know. Under 18 raves, going Watford. Listen,
Chucky, how old are you? 45?
Nah, man.
Fucking hell, bro.
He doesn't know about the Rhythm Nation days.
I thought they changed their names in that more.
Well,
recently.
they are. What are they now? They're EDL.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Oh fuck! What did I have to say?
Is that you, Chuck?
It's his cousins, fam.
I thought that was Big Nasty's thing.
But yeah, like even then, back
That's
then,
what it was. That's what it was back then, though.
But I used to see like, for my culture, how I grew was obviously very different to the way that some other people around me grew. So when we talk about the villages and stuff, when I was out, these were the first times when I was hearing people chatting to their mum a certain type of way. These were the first time I started seeing like, bruv, I always remember, things like having to be in my yard at a certain time. Like, say like 8 o'clock, My mum was coming out on the balcony screaming out my government name. And let me tell you how mad it was. No, let me tell you how mad this was. I'll never forget this. One time my mum used to call me in, and I used to always know because like I used to try and see if I could get to bed a bit after EastEnders or whatever. Get the extra half hour after the bill.
Desmond's.
Because EastEnders used to be on at 7:30. The bill used to be on at 8 from 8:30. So the extra half an hour was my
If you made it to the 10 o'clock news, you were balling.
Oh my God, could you imagine? I never even made it to that. But I remember my mum coming out, screaming out my government name, telling me I've got to get in because it's bedtime. And the youths them sitting outside my flat where I was, just singing bedtime. That was my thing. But do you think that I could have just disrespect the mum and that?
Wait, but
and
did
just...
you have your family around, like your family around?
What do you mean?
Like your nan, your uncle?
Yeah, my nan.
Oh, that's all right then. That's the reason why. Because I was lucky in that sense where I had that as well. I had the white boy Danny and Daniel that used to be like, oh man, fuck off and all of that outside my block. But I had my family always in my house. Also, I had the.
So you couldn't pattern like.
Pattern.
No way.
Did you man get beat?
So
yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I've got the look a lot, and I got a pinch a lot. Like, I used to get pinched. My nan used to pinch the hell out of me.
Living that good life.
Yeah. Now on the train,
pinch,
but
yeah?
but you know what it was? I used to get the pinch and twist.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, like on the
A
train,
whole
if I was
twist.
acting up, I'd get the pinch and twist.
Oh,
Yeah. It was just
that's outrageous.
it would come here and it would just twist. But it
Listen,
was
I've got
more
anything that
like
came to hand, man.
it was more
Shit.
like carry on and know
one more.
what that.
One more. I dare you.
This whole
Sometimes the talking to you was
lying
worse.
down on the floor and screaming and crying and all of that didn't happen because
Nah.
I knew if that was the case, then I got licks one time and I didn't want it again. I wasn't about that life. Do you get what I'm saying? That was me.
But was it fear or respect?
What was the licks?
No, as in not wanting to get in trouble to that degree. Was it fear of your parents or
both.
respect?
No, my mom never.
Mine was a bit of both. I can't lie.
Mine, both of them.
Nah, but you know what? My mum never beat me like that. But like my nan gave me a one thing. But it wasn't like I was shook, but it was respect.
You're a fast learner.
It was respect. I remember seeing I saw one of my cousins get his mouth washed out with soap. I saw these type of things. Yeah, for swearing. Yeah. But I think that like it was respect, but there was a little bit of fear in there as well. Yeah, but that fear never made me. It never hindered my life though. It never made me feel like
healthy.
Very
boundaries.
Healthy, very healthy. Yeah, boundaries. Are important.
Yeah, I think it was just as soon as you get to that point, because I never had it where it was unnecessary. Like, you know, like I was just being a little bit naughty. My thing was I took it there now. You know what I mean? You've told me 10 times now.
How are your parents? I reckon your parents were very, very open-minded with you.
My mum's massively open-minded.
And you know what?
My nan wasn't, no.
Yeah, but your mum's going to be in your life more than your nan, no?
Nah, she wasn't.
Is it?
At a point, it was easily equal. If not, at one point, my nan, I used to be at my nan's all the time while my mum was trying to work and just trying to, you know. And that's why now there's certain things that happened when I was young that made me realize even more so how much my mum smashed it because of how far set back she was and how down and out she was, and the fact that she ended up getting us. And I didn't know that because I didn't feel it. Remember we talked about this before. I didn't feel it. I was just like my nan's. Or I was with my cousin or whatever it may be. And my cousin's friends were my friends and my friends were my cousin's friends. So it was like...
Yeah, there's a thing. We were young, and we actually not acted young, but we didn't even really worry about adult problems. These lot are worrying about adult problems
way too early.
Young.
They're exposed to too much. That's why they have the internet. They have everything in front of them.
But this is what I
say. But this is what, for me anyway. My younger brother and my younger sister have got so much respect. My parents have done a fantastic job in raising them. They are so respectful, and I think it's the ability to adapt to a new climate that has really, really helped my parents. And to be honest with you, I've had a really weird relationship with my dad, but as of recently, that's like, he's the man, fam. Like, I chat to him quite a bit now.
Yeah, when we first started this thing, it was a bit
I wasn't really chatting to him.
I do remember those early
But you know, as you get older, you
go on, sorry, I interrupted him. Sorry, go on.
But yeah, like now, I can honestly say to you, like, I clocked why my dad was the way he was. He was always open to change, and I think that's one thing that I see a lot of parents that are my age, the way they treat their kids in comparison to me, they're not open to change, Chucky. They're like, well, I used to get beat, so you're going to get beat. Like, that's just a rule or something like that. And even certain times I've got to say to the mother of my kids, yo, chill out, man. Because, like, they're kids. Like, I want them to go and express themselves. And if they go too far, I'll wheel them back and say, yo, you can't do this. Even if when they're young, they don't understand, I still explain to them, no, don't do that, Khalifa, because boom, 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 boom. And then what happens is that will become a habit with me. And when Khalifa's like 2 years old, when I say to him, Khalifa, don't do that, why? He'll tell me back. He just tell me naturally why you shouldn't be doing it.
Very important.
And that is what I'm trying to do with my kids. I'm not on this. When kids have been hearing that their whole life for like 6 years, then they go to school and they sort of respond like that to teachers because they've heard that their whole life. Before you know it, this kid is 12 years old and he is wilding, fam.
Yeah,
100%.
Wilding. Everything we put into the kids now in terms of teaching them manners and certain life lessons. A parent's only job, realistically, is to prepare their child for a point in time that they know is gonna come. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta prepare your child for when, you know, he gets approached on a not so nice tip. You've got to prepare your child for, you know, meeting a girl. You've got to prepare your child for so much stuff. But our job is to make it the transitions that make them kind of understand and just build the most rounded person that we can.